Hello, it's Kate here and welcome to today's tutorial. So I've been asked to do some sketches of seascapes and this is what we're going to be doing today. So I am sorry for the noise. I have all the windows open. It's really hot here. I hope that doesn't bother anyone. So let's start. I have my pastel pencil. You can use a charcoal pencil as well. Remember never to use a graphite pencil as that is not going to allow you to layer the pastel over it. So I'm gonna create some sketches. We're gonna be working tiny. So this is an amazing exercise to actually practice selecting colors and seeing the values. So this is one. Let's see how many we can fit here. Two. I forgot to mention, this is Canson Mouton paper, the simple one, not touch. So I'm gonna leave this at that for now. Oh, I was using a colored pencil, oh no. So, mistook the pencil, this is a colored pencil, but it's okay. Anyway, this is just an outline. So I'm gonna use the charcoal. And this is also not, I have a mix up with my pencils here. This is definitely a pastel pencil. Okay, so these are going to be little tiny outlines of the space where I want to place my composition. And what we're going to be doing here is creating those little, almost thumbnail sketches in color. So if you've seen my previous videos, you must have seen that I always suggest you do thumbnail sketches, which means that you do a tiny drawing that divides the image into value. But in this one, we will be doing sketches in color. I have my reference photos in front of me and I'll be adding more rectangles as we go along. Also, one important thing that I wanted to mention, if you're working pastel and you're new to this, pay attention to the side of the paper. This is the reverse side of the paper. It's smooth. The other side is more textured and it's going to show you the texture of the paper showing through more. And I have clamped it here on the sides and I have this board, I'll show you, that clamps it on top here. But basically, you need to either tape your paper to the board, either clamp it so that it doesn't move. And also, one more thing is that it's best to work upright because all the dust is going to fall down and it's not going to be there and bother you on the paper. So let's start. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to sketch the dunes. So I like this picture the most. It doesn't have the sea in it, but it has more of the dunes. And I want to raise a bit the horizon line. And just with the pencil, I'm going to mark where the dunes are going to be. This is the dunes. So these are the greens. And I really like this shadow and light game there. So let's start. First that I'm going to do is I'm going to layer in that sky. The sky is always light. Remember that the sky is a source of light. So don't darken it too much. So what I'm doing is I'm layering in the sky color. Gradually going into a lighter color. So don't make too much of a jump here. It's one of the first rules of soft pastels that you work gradually. Now I'm gonna add this lightest blue at the bottom here and just a hint of that pink. I love pink in sky. Okay, now what we can do, we can slightly blend it. So remember, these are sketches. We're just doing a color sketch. And you see colored pencil shines through. So don't be too precious about it. These are meant to be quick. And they are there for you to actually be able to determine the colors. There we go. And just a bit of that blue in the sky, just a bit more. Okay, what we can do, I see there are some beautiful clouds in that sky. We can just add some of those whiter marks and rub them away just to hint at the clouds, like so. So we're not going into tiny detail, we're just going for the colors. Next, I see that I have basically two values in my greens. Lights and darks. Lights are very warm, so I'm gonna choose something yellow. And let's see if this is gonna cut it. So I'm just putting a dot. You see I put a dot. No, this is too cool. I need something warm yellow, but light. Let's see. This can work, and then we can blend it in together with the blues. So I'm squinting my eyes and I'm looking at where that lightest value is. It's here, and also some of this here, like so. Now I can gently blend it so we don't have that texture shining through too much. And I'm thinking that I want this color in my sand as well. So you can see this comes out to be a very limited palette. So mixed in together with the color of the paper. This color gives me a perfect sand color. Not going into details again. Important is that you put this color in the sand, in those areas. So let's cover all of this for now. In the areas that shine through the grass as well. Okay, next we're going on to some of our greens, and I'm gonna use this, let's see, just to add a bit of color in our grasses, this brighter color. And very tiny specks in the back, so just to liven things up a bit. So here, as I said, you are practicing choosing colors, and I see that there's even an orangier color in there to kind of indicate those drier grasses, so I'm gonna place that in there as well. So the mix of these three colors gives me my grass. Now it's time to get the darks in, and for the darks I see that they are really dark, so I'm gonna go in with my really dark green. So this is a really dark green. This is, I think it's a Rembrandt that I have here, and I'm going to add this dark to my grasses where I see it. So this is a dark green. The further it gets, the less contrasted it's going to be. So here I can gently rub it in, like so. And I see that there's a bit of this darkness on the edge here where there are the trees showing on the horizon line. So this is my green, and now to kind of create a shadow, to have a common color, I'm going to use a dark violet. This is a gray violet, and I'm going to place it over those greens. So I'm looking at those shapes here and also on those trees in the back. So now I have my dark violet, and now I'm going to switch to a lighter, slightly lighter shade of this violet. It's the same color basically, but it's just slightly lighter. Adding those darks in the back, and now we're going to be adding those shadows on our sand. Here, some places there will be this color of the sand showing through. So here they kind of blend together, like so. The trees in the back, breaking up the shape here. So this is that shadow that we see cast from our grasses. Like so. There are some trees also. Let's add some trees here. This violet can work. And also these parts, they're casting shadows also, but not as not as dark. And basically this is our sketch of the dunes. This is where we go from. So it's very important to determine the colors up front to actually understand what colors you will be using. Because if we were to sketch the same thing and use different colors, so let's try that. If we were to sketch, let's do the same exact sketch, but we're going to be using a slightly different color scheme. So we do the sky again. I'm gonna rough this in quickly. So I just wanted to show you how different it's going to look when you use colors that are slightly different. So let's maybe use a cooler blue for the sky this time, just so that we switch up our color theme, color palette. I'm just looking for light enough. This is too cool maybe. Gonna warm it up just a tad. So mix these two in. Again, blending them in. Okay, so you can see already it feels different. So now I'm gonna add a bit of this pink at the bottom here. So it kind of feels more overcast now, the sky. Okay, adding some of those clouds, and let's use the pink this time. So you can see you can use different colors to create the same thing. Now let's use some of cooler greens. So in this time I'm gonna use let's use something different this time. I'm going to be using dark yellows. So for the dark yellows, if you darken up yellow, it becomes this kind of muddy green. And I'm going to be using these dark yellows as kind of a transition between my lights and darks. Over here. Then I will go into my, let's take something, let's go dusty. Let's go into something like so. So this is a dusty green. Like so. And now we're gonna go into dark greens. But this time I want them warm, so let's make warm shadows. If we have a more overcast kind of situation, let's make warmer shadows. And for warmer shadows, again, I'm using a dark yellow. It's not dark enough. Let's go into even darker. So this is going to be good. So this one. So this is a very dark yellow. There we go. And into our dark yellow, let's add some very dark, let's add some browns, so warm browns. So something like this, just to create those shadows. Next, I need my sand. For the sand, we can go with this light brown and then mix it in together with some yellow. Still, we're kind of warming it up. It's going to be warmer than this version here. Just mixing those colors, blending them in together, like so. And I'm going to go with this greenish color over the top, which looks nice. And adding those brighter patches where it kind of shines through. So on the back, I'm gonna add those trees that we see in the back there. I'm going to add it with this more of a violet color, so it brings them, it pushes them kind of to the back because it has blue in it. Like so. And we're going to create the shadows. Let's see, just a bit darken them up here so they can, and also let's add it into the shadow, this color, just a bit. It's going to be still warm, but it's going to have that violet in it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create those shadows. So again, let's mix violet with brown, because we still need that sky reflecting. So let's add this color onto our sand, like so. And then I will add some of that warm brown, just a tad, just a bit here into the shadows. So we kind of mix it in together, and just gonna bring in those areas of light back into the shadow just to break it up a bit. So you can see that these are two completely different color schemes. So you can work warm or cool and you still portray this image, but you can work with different colors and create a different mood. But anyway, enough of this now. Let's move on to our sea.